Everything is normal. Everything is fine. I worry about nothing, because nothing is on my mind. These are the first lines in the form of a verse from the vibrant page of a newly published horror comic available both digitally and in print, Marble Hornets issue number 3.5, To the Ark. The comic was independently published in April 2022, but its opening verse is a reprise of its source material, a YouTube video from April 2013, part of the sprawling found footage ARG, Marble Hornets. Over the course of 5 years, from June 2009 to June 2014, Marble Hornets took place as a horror web series, an alternate reality game, also known as an ARG, spanning multiple social media platforms. As an ARG, Marble Hornets combined the fictional storytelling of Blair Witch-style found footage filmmaking with in-universe online audience interaction, hence the alternate reality. This meant that the creators were uploading Marble Hornets episodes, labeled as entries, to YouTube as the characters in the actual continuity of their fictional story, as well as communicating with their audience in character on Twitter. Beyond responding to audience comments in character, Marble Hornets interacted with its viewers by encouraging them to decode cryptic puzzles, especially in their secondary channel, To the Ark, which was run by an unknown person or people in universe. Marble Hornets was hugely influential in developing and popularizing the Slenderman mythos during its heyday between 2012 and 2014, even though its antagonist, a tall, faceless humanoid being in a suit, was never officially named as such. Those following along were able to actually watch this new American folklore come to life in real time. Marble Hornets creators used the original Slenderman character design, minus the tentacles, created in the Something Awful forums by user Victor Surge. However, they opted to create a completely original character and set of abilities. Enter the faceless entity in Marble Hornets, the Operator. Despite existing as its own distinct character in Marble Hornets, the Operator's traits would largely become synonymous with those of Slenderman, as Marble Hornets' influence permeated throughout online horror and creepypasta communities. This marriage between found footage filmmaking, internet folklore, and audience interaction proved immensely popular and captured imaginations worldwide, even drawing the praise of famous film critic Roger Ebert, who in 2009 called the series remarkably well done and encouraged people to watch it. All the more remarkable is the series' humble origins, having begun when its creators were only undergrad students at the University of Alabama. Their work would go on to spawn a professionally produced 2015 spin-off feature film starring Doug Jones as the Operator, an ongoing spin-off YouTube ARG from one of the original creators, an ongoing comic series, and an enduring fan base that demands new content and continues to celebrate the original series. So, how did several college students with almost no resources manage to create one of the most influential web series of their time? The first of Marble Hornets' 3 seasons was produced on a budget of no more than $500, according to co-creators Troy Wagner and Joseph Delage. In the same found footage tradition as 1999's The Blair Witch Project, Marble Hornets was shot primarily on a low-quality consumer-grade camcorder that would become an aesthetic of its own. By writing a storyline centering around college students like themselves, Wagner and Delage gave their lack of advanced technical resources contextual credibility. The creators brilliantly leaned into their limited resources and made the best project they could with the tools at hand. A hallmark of Marble Hornets throughout its production were its creepy abandoned locations, which Wagner has frequently cited as being abundant in Alabama, I'm sure. These locations lent visual variety to Marble Hornets' entries, as well as a genuinely eerie atmosphere steeped in dilapidated realism. Marble Hornets had no need for Hollywood-quality production design when their locations were so convincingly dreadful, such as an abandoned mental hospital, which featured prominently in the 2nd season, and underground maintenance tunnels that elicit a deep sense of claustrophobia. These locations and their incorporation into the Marble Hornets storyline display the creators' ingenuity in utilizing their local environments, as well as give the series a unique regional character that distinguishes Marble Hornets as not only a great horror series, but a great horror series from the American South. One of the most iconic and enduringly popular aspects of Marble Hornets lies with the show's simple yet deeply creative costume designs, namely for 2 mysterious masked characters in the show, known colloquially by fans as Masky and Hoodie. Both characters were original creations of Marble Hornets, but like most digital folklore, have become extremely popular in online creepypasta communities, having taken on lives of their own as internet horror characters. The genius behind both designs lies in their simplicity. The masky mask, for instance, was designed using a generic blank mask that Troy Wagner purchased from a local craft store. He painted its lips, eyes, and eyebrows black. The rest of Masky's clothes vary throughout the series, but generally include a rugged utility jacket. Another great DIY costume choice. Hoodie, likewise, wears a mask with a simple but inventive design. Troy Wagner bleached the shapes of 2 dots for eyes and a line for a mouth on black polyester, and combined with a light yellow hoodie and black gloves, the character's unmistakable design was complete. Both of these characters have long been the subjects of numerous cosplays, inspiring fans to recreate the show's costumes. And then, of course, there's the central horror creation on screen in Marble Hornets. Its central antagonist, the Operator. The Operator is introduced in Marble Hornets' very first entry in a video on YouTube with a runtime of less than a minute long. This short video currently holds over 7 million views. The appearance of the Operator had to be both convincing and frightening from the get-go in order to hook viewers, and the design certainly accomplished that in its very first appearance. The Operator is portrayed by an actor in a costume and moves its neck in a jerky, inhuman movement. Interestingly, this was one of only a few occasions in the series in which the Operator was performed by an actor in the first place. For the rest of the series, the antagonist was portrayed through, quote, other means that the creators have never fully elaborated on. It most likely seems like the creators built a puppet that towers over the show's actors and boasts strange, unnatural-looking proportions unbecoming of a person in a costume. The illusion of the Operator is further augmented by Troy Wagner and his team, using the, quote, Jaws effect, meaning that they limit the Operator's actual screen time and build tension by implying its presence through other means, especially with visual and auditory distortions. This well-known motif of camera static, now associated with Slenderman, was invented by Marble Hornets for the Operator. The presence of visual distortions during appearances by the Operator also allow for the effect to be hidden further, making this entity look all the more believable. Combine this with dim lighting and darker tones, you have a classic, thoroughly horrifying Marble Hornets aesthetic. The success and ingenuity of Marble Hornets creating an aesthetic all its own, like much of the rest of the series' greatest aspects, stems from the raw creative instincts of its 3 main creators, Troy Wagner, Joseph Delage, and Tim Sutton, who also play some of the series' main characters, and thus its de facto shaky cam cinematographers. Shaky cam viral horror was famously popularized a full decade prior to Marble Hornets in the Blair Witch Project, and has become something of a popular, if not often tired, genre trope over the years. Marble Hornets, however, found ways to keep their shaky cam fresh, engaging, and, most of all, terrifying. One visual motif throughout the series is monochromatic night vision, which makes for some terrifying sequences in the dark. While most of the entries are shot on a handheld camcorder, a chest-mounted wide-angle lens GoPro camera is introduced midway through the series, and makes for some of the most horrifying first-person sequences in the whole show. After all, the chest camera wearer's torment can be documented hands-free. The timing of camera movements and thrilling events are thoughtfully executed throughout the series, from the very first entry giving us a fleeting glimpse of the Operator before retreating. There's a constant sense of first-person realism created by the camera's movements in Marble Hornets that become especially exhilarating during the series' many chase and action sequences, which grow more elaborate and coordinated over the course of the show. There is also the medium of viewership to take into consideration here as well. Marble Hornets was an early entry into the YouTube ecosystem. With so many different creators, mostly amateurs and hobbyists at the time, uploading their own content, viewers easily became accustomed to the DIY semi-documentary and vlog style of video, something the creators clearly sought to feed into with Marble Hornets. With so many non-fiction videos on the platform shot in the same way, it was an easy leap for viewers of Marble Hornets to suspend their belief at this new, creepy documentary. One particular stroke of DIY genius that Marble Hornets managed to pull off is a stunt involving a character falling from a 2-story drop onto concrete in an abandoned building. Needless to say, the creators didn't throw their talent 20 feet over a ledge. Our imperiled character is first seen hanging onto a ledge out in front. While the talent was hanging onto the ledge, they were actually standing on a ladder, not seen by the audience. In the space of mere seconds, the character's hands are struck with a blunt object and the first-person camera is momentarily diverted. Seconds later, we look over the edge and see how far the character has fallen. This impressive sequence was achieved in real time by careful coordination and the use of a ladder, and it amounts to one of the most thoroughly convincing and exciting scenes in the entire series, fitting perfectly into the third season's climactic crescendo. The ladder fall wasn't Marble Hornets' only daring stunt. In another late third season entry, a live fire is set within a garage with flames scorching just inches from Joseph Delage's face. The camera is taken far away from the house, and when it turns back to see the aftermath of the fire set, we see an entire house with flickering orange lights inside, thus completing the illusion of a full house fire being made. The success of Marble Hornet's skeleton crew echo its spiritual predecessor, the Blair Witch Project, once again, by proving that a ragtag group of students with soaring creativity and raw artistic talent can create a more appealing and original horror experience than most big-budget professional studios are typically capable of. The original working title for Marble Hornets was The Slender Tapes, a name that Troy Wagner was quick to throw out before launching the series. He wanted a better name for his ARG. So he went for a drive and decided to create a name from the first two interesting things he saw. The first was a masonry business with slabs of marble outside, and the second, an exterminator's truck that had hornets on it. Thus, the odd and distinctly memorable title, Marble Hornets, was born. The story of how the series was named perfectly exemplifies the creativity behind Marble Hornets as a whole. The creators dared to walk outside and try something they hadn't before out of sheer creative drive. And, over 13 years later, the creative spark that started Marble Hornets continues to captivate in various forms, as fans continue to show interest in what began in 2009. The making of Marble Hornets remains an underdog triumph from the likes of Wagner, Delage, Sutton, and co., who were able to wisely utilize their available resources and come up with convincing tricks where they had to, leading to some of the series' most innovative and unforgettable moments. Other creators looking to engage in making similar content can learn a lot from what they've done and their process. And their story still matters today as an example of what young creatives can do with next to no resources when they're driven enough. All 87 entries of Marble Hornets are available to be watched today on their official YouTube channel, as well as the original series' sister channel To the Ark, and the ongoing spin-off Ekva. Troy Wagner's ongoing Marble Hornets comic series continues to expand the series' original storyline and answer questions first raised so many years ago. For the vast changes that have taken place throughout YouTube's landscape over the past 13 years, Marble Hornets and their niche of fans endures. Everything is normal. Everything is fine. I worry about nothing, because nothing is on my mind.